Hi, everyone, and thanks for checking out this movie review. So, today I'll be continuing with my current horror franchise. That's the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And today we'll be taking a look at the sixth film and sixth installment in the franchise, and that is Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. So, yeah, Freddy's Dead. I'll just kind of go through the setup and premise of the film, and then I'll get into my thoughts and review, which will contain spoilers. So Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, also known as Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6. Um, it was intended to be the last film, of course, in the series, which it wasn't, obviously, because I'm only about halfway through my review of the month for the month. Um, so it's many years after the previous film in which Freddy Krueger has returned and killed every child and teenager in the town of Springwood, Ohio. The only surviving teenager, who's a John Doe, is confronted by Freddy in a dream. John wakes up outside of the Springwood city limits, but due to a head injury, does not remember who he is or why he is there. Um, at a shelter for troubled youths, we're introduced to three residents: Spencer, Carlos, and Tracy. They plot to run away to California. The police find John and take him to this shelter, where he becomes a patient of Dr. Maggie Burroughs. Maggie notices a newspaper clipping from Springwood in John's pocket. To attempt to cure his amnesia, she decides to take him back to Springwood. In an attempt to run away, Tracy, Carlos, and Spencer stow away in the van, but they are discovered when John has a hallucination and almost wrecks the van just outside of Springwood. So, yeah, that's basically the setup and the premise of this film. Um, as far as the cast goes, we got Lisa Zane, who plays Maggie Burroughs, and Catherine Kruger. Robert Englund, of course, is Freddy Krueger. Toby Sexton is the teenage version of Freddy Krueger. Yaphet Kotto is Doc. Leslie Dean is Tracy. Sean Greenblatt is John Doe. Brecken Meyer is Spencer. And Ricky Dean Logan is Carlos. So, Freddy's dead. Um, yeah, 1991. I think it's a 1991 American slasher film. I'm surprised they don't have the word comedy in there, but apparently they don't. This is going to be a short review because I just don't really have much to say about this movie. It's not good. It really isn't. I tend to agree with all the fellow reviewers and critics that have this as the worst Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I know I still have three left to go in this franchise, but it's hard to believe that any movie's going to be worse than this one. But we'll see. You never know. So as far as pros go, I didn't mind the music in this movie. Like the opening credits kind of has and then we go to the plane that John Doe is on. It kind of has or is there? I guess as they're putting the title "Freddy's Dead" up, I thought that was kind of a kick-ass song. I didn't mind. There's other music throughout the film that wasn't too bad. Um, so yeah, the score and the music in the film isn't terrible. It's pretty good. My favorite part of this movie is the ending montage that they have after the movie's officially over, where they're putting the ending credits up, and you get an ending montage of different scenes from all the films leading up to this one, including this one, the six films, with Iggy Pop's song in the background. So that's my favorite part of this movie, which should pretty much tell you everything you need to know. There's a few flashback scenes of Freddy when he's a human that I thought were decent. Not so much the ones when he's a teenager or a kid. Those are okay, but more when it's just Robert Englund as an adult and he's married and he tells his daughter to go inside. Spoiler alert: he has a daughter, as we find out in this movie. Um, yeah, what else can I say for pros? I guess Freddy's sweater and glove have good continuity from the previous films. That's about the only other pro I can come up with for this movie. As far as cons, I'm just going to run through them quick because I could spend an hour on them. So let's see. These are all cons: the story, the directing, the special effects slash CGI, the acting, the characters, Freddy's makeup, Freddy's humor, Freddy in general, the tone and atmosphere of this movie, the bad and the few kills that there were in this movie, the parodying of Freddy that they decided to do in this movie, Freddy's death at the end, the worst. Too many people survive. And the 3D gimmick that doesn't inspire or go anywhere in this movie. It doesn't really do anything. So those are my cons. Other than you take all those away, and it's a fabulous movie, quite frankly. No, in all seriousness, I'll expel a little bit on some of the cons. The story, I can't believe New Line went with this story. Mike DeLuca, I think, was the writer when they had Peter Jackson writing out a script. And quite frankly, I think some bums off the street could have written or could have written a better script personally. So yeah, the story's atrocious. The directing, this film was directed. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. It's not in here for some reason. But Rachel Talalay, who's actually been a producer on all of these films, the first five films, decided to not only she's also involved in the story, but she directed this film. And yeah, not good. The directing is not good. Um, there's CGI in this movie. We don't get all the practical effects that I actually enjoy. If you know me, you know I like practical effects that we've gotten in previous movies. The old CGI starts to kick in this movie, and God, is it bad. The acting is bad. I mean, Lisa Zane, I guess, is okay. I don't really like her character, but she's not terrible. But everybody else, I don't care about. Their acting is bad, namely the three teenagers or the four teenagers, I guess is who I'm talking about. Yaphet Kotto's a decent actor. He just really wasn't given much to go on in this movie because there isn't much to go on in this movie. I didn't care about any of the characters, including Lisa Zane's. Let's talk about Freddy. His makeup sucks. His humor sucks, and Freddy in general in this movie sucks. And yes, Robert Englund, that includes you. And it's the only movie in this series that I'm going to take a shot at Robert Englund and say, bro, why did you decide to do this movie? Didn't you read the script? Yeah, he's not good in this movie. It's the only movie that you'll hear me say that about with Robert Englund. You could say it's not his fault, but he chose to. I would have just turned this movie down, quite frankly, when I saw the script for it. But that's just me. Yeah, nothing about Freddy's good in this movie. It's all terrible. I can't believe how bad the makeup is. I thought part five had the worst makeup. This makeup is even worse. He's basically wearing a rubber mask. There's not even any makeup in this movie. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Freddy. The tone and the atmosphere is that of a 1980s Looney Tune cartoon, Saturday morning Looney Tunes cartoon that I watched when I was 5 or 6. A lot of Coyote and Roadrunner in this movie. Um, yeah, where else do we want to go here? The kills in this movie are terrible, and there's only three of them, and none of them are any good. You know, some people say the Carlos kill where he got his head blown up by sort of the earpiece from hell, I guess if you want to call it. But I would say that's not even good because all you see is his head blowing up like confetti. It doesn't have any blood or gore in it, so that's awful. Freddy's dead. Freddy's death at the end, it's the worst death that he suffers in any of these movies by a long shot. And there's several reasons for this. One, the way they kill him, spoiler alert, is they drag him out into the real world and blow him up. Well, let's see, when have we already seen him out in the real world where somebody pulled him out of their dream before? I guess you got to go back a few years in terms of the chronological order here, considering this is many, many years after the original, but I'm pretty sure they've done that before. Then you add on to the fact that the way they killed him, his daughter kills him, and it's unimaginative. They're basically wrestling around on the floor, and she bites his nose and pulls his fingers back to break them. Uh, I don't really know what else to say. It's just, it's lazy, it's cheap. I can't believe people got paid for this movie. Um, the worst death by far. Any death that he had before this, even from the original, where he really didn't die but just disappeared because Nancy turned her back on him, is better than this. The second movie with the sort of the love breaking through and defeating Freddy's better than this. Certainly the ones in 3 and 4 where he's ripped apart either by the light of God or by the souls that he actually collects as he kills people is better than this. And as hard as it is to believe, even the death he suffers from Jacob, the child of Alice in the fifth movie, where he basically barfs the souls into him, is better than this. So that should pretty much tell you everything you need to know about Freddy's death in this movie. Too many people survive. Why is Leslie Dean alive? Why is Yaphet Kotto alive? If you want to just have it be the daughter, that's fine. Um, The 3D gimmick is so bad. I mean, I haven't watched it in 3D, but it's just what's the point of it? It doesn't do anything. And then, of course, we have the floating dream demons, which they gave us more of this backstory about how Freddy's actually able to live through these dreams. Yeah, it's basically floating three floating sperm is what they look like, and yeah, not good, guys. I'm not going to go into any more cons just because I don't want to waste any more time. I could spend about another hour and a half if I really wanted to, but I don't. By far, the worst Freddy movie, the worst horror movie, the worst sequel movie. Freddy's Dead, I'm going to give a 1 out of 10 to. And I don't even know if it deserves a 1, but because it's a movie that came out of Hollywood and Robert Englund, no, that's not even a reason why. I'm giving it 1 out of 10 because I guess I'm just a nice guy. This is by far the worst. I hear people say that part 5 is worse than this. Please. Part 5 is very flawed, as is part 4, as is part 2. I would watch those 100 times over before I would watch the opening credits to this movie. So there you go. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare from 1991. 1 out of 10. Go ahead and comment down below, guys, if you found any enjoyment whatsoever out of this movie. I'd love to hear it. Um, like this video, and please subscribe to my channel to see future Nightmare on Elm Street reviews, as well as my ranking at the end of this month, and future horror franchise reviews and other movies that I'll have coming up. So, thank you for struggling through this video as I struggled through Freddy's Dead. Have a great day. Bye.